Hey guys, it's Miss Lovell here, and we're going to learn about a new lesson today. Today, we're going to be focusing on point of view. What is point of view? A point of view is how you or someone else feels about something. For example, I might think that ice cream is the best dessert of all time, whereas you might think that cake is the best dessert of all time. A point of view is your opinion or how you feel about something. So today, we're going to be talking about point of view in a fictional story. A fictional story is a story that is not real and cannot happen in real life. These stories can have narrators and characters. Remember, a narrator is someone from outside of the story that is telling us what's happening. A character can be an animal or a person that's in the story. So, while we read our story today, we need to think about these characters and narrators' point of view. We can have the same point of view or a different point of view than the characters and the narrators. A great way to figure out what the character's point of view or the narrator's point of view is to look at their actions. This can be by something that they do in the story or even something that they say in the story. By these things, we can tell what those characters feel and think about that situation. So, I want you, while we're reading the story, I want you to think, who is the narrator? What do the characters think? What do I think? Is it the same or is it different? Today we're going to be reading the story, A True Tale of the Three Little Pigs. You may be saying to yourself, I already know this story. There's a big bad wolf, and he blows down the houses of these pigs. You thought wrong. There's another perspective that we never thought about. So, as I read the story, be thinking of those questions in your brain. Okay, let's read the true story of the Three Little Pigs. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves like to eat cute little animals like bunnies, sheep, and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks probably would think that you're big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming. Well, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner laying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have a cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled, "Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail, Wolf's honor. Now you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sackful of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it, the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. Now that we've read our story, let's talk about some things. Who is our narrator in the story? You're right, it's the wolf, right? He's telling his side of the story. So the story is in his point of view. Who are the characters in the story? You're right, we have the wolf and then we have the three little pigs. So now that we've read our story, let's fill out this chart and let's talk about the characters' actions and their points of view. Okay, now we're looking at our point of view chart. This chart shows us what the wolf's actions were, what the three pigs' actions were, the wolf's point of view, and the three pigs' point of view, okay? This chart is very similar to the one that you might see in your Ready workbook. So let's start with the wolf's actions. So we need to think about what the wolf said or did in the story that kind of helps us figure out his point of view. You might be saying that one of the wolf's actions was that he was just trying to borrow a cup of sugar for his granny's cake. So you can say, trying to borrow a cup of sugar. That's one action that he did in the story. What's another? You're right. He had a sneezing cold, right? That was like one of the things that kind of made people think that he was trying to harm the three little pigs because he huffed and he snuffed, right? So on our text box, we can write, had a sneezing cold. Let's try to think of one more thing. What else was one of the wolf's actions in the story that led to the conclusion? Whenever he huffed and snuffed, what happened? Their houses fell down. Did he help the pigs that the houses fell down? No, they were as dead as a doornail. So he said that he ate the pigs whose houses fell down. So we can write that as one of his actions. Ate the pigs whose houses fell down. So those are some good actions that we saw in our story. Now let's move on to the three pigs actions. What are some actions that we saw from the three pigs in the story? Well, the first two pigs, they ignored the wolf whenever he knocked on their door. One of them even said that he's shaving the hairs on his chinny chin chin. So for theirs, we can say that they either ignored / told the wolf to go away. What else did the pigs do in the story that can help us figure out their point of view? You're right. All three of them would not allow him to come in, right? So we can say, wouldn't let the wolf into their houses. These are two great actions that we saw from the pigs during our story. Now that we've talked about their actions, both the wolf and the pigs, let's think about what their point of view is. So let's first look at the point of view of the wolf. Does the wolf view himself as a big bad wolf? No, he views himself as innocent. He was trying to do something nice for his dear old granny, and he's getting framed, right? So the point of view of the wolf is that he is completely innocent and that he is being framed for something that he really didn't intend on doing. So let's write in our little point of view box, we're going to write, the wolf thinks that he is innocent and framed. Okay. Now, what do the pigs think? What is their point of view? The pigs, on the other hand, say that he probably was, trying to get inside their house and eat them, right? That's why they wouldn't let him in. So their point of view is that they think that the wolf was trying to get inside just to eat them. So they really think of him as the big bad wolf in the story. Okay, guys, so now that we filled out our chart on the points of view and actions of both the wolf and the three little pigs, it's time to ask yourself a question as the reader. What's your point of view? What do you think? Do you believe the wolf? Do you agree that his point of view and his story is real? Or do you believe the story of the three little pigs? Do you think that the wolf wasn't innocent and was really trying to eat them after all? These are really great questions that we need to be asking ourselves, not only in this lesson, but in every lesson to come. So, as a reader, you have such an important role. You need to see the point of view of the characters and the narrators. These can be shown through their actions and what they say and do. So, next time that you pick up a fictional story, ask yourself these questions. Who is the narrator? What do the characters think? What do I think? I hope y'all enjoyed this lesson. It was a lot of fun. I'll see y'all next time.